What is up, and welcome to SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm here with my favorite Underdog Fantasy Pick'em plays for Tuesday, January 21st, 2024. I'm Britton Hess at Britton Hess on Twitter, other social media as well. If you're not on Twitter, you can give me a follow. I'm always putting out sports content every single day. So, check it out. By the way, did I say this? Sign up for Underdog with promo code DailyDog, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. Get a 50% deposit match bonus worth up to $1,000. Literally the best deposit match bonus you can find out there. Check it out. Daily Dog, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. All right, we are done with college football for the season. Can you believe it? Had some good slips, not any in the national championship game. Riley Leonard, he had 39 yards, I think, on the first drive of that game rushing, and he had finished with 40. So, not necessarily a good beat, not necessarily a bad beat. I mean, he had 39 yards on the first drive, and we still almost hit under 37.5. So a couple sacks here or there could have changed that. But it is what it is. Or even if they would have kneeled it down at the end of the game and said they ran that stupid pass over the middle for no reason. But at the end of the day, it was a fun college football championship game. Looked like it was going to be a rout. I thought Ohio State was going to cover that number and handle business, and they pretty much did. But they did let Notre Dame back in that one at the end for somehow, some way. Some interesting coaching decisions definitely made that a factor, but congrats to the Ohio State Buckeyes for winning it all. I think they were definitely the best team, most talented team in all of college football in the 2024-2025 2024 season, 2025 playoffs. So no complaints about who our winner is. All right, we only have 3 more NFL games this year as well. We got the AFC and NFC championship game, and then the Super Bowl, obviously. But let's get into our picks for this weekend's NFL games. The entry I gave out yesterday was Austin Ekeler higher than 47.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Underdog now has that at 46.5. I think this is going to toggle up and down a little bit here or there. I think Ekeler is just too good in both facets to be held under 50 total yards in this game. They use him. He's not a situational guy. They rotate him in no matter where they are on the field. They've got packages and plays for him. I got plays for Brian Robinson as well. But Ekeler, I think through the air is going to be important here. I think he's going to have 30-plus receiving yards in this game. So the rushing doesn't need to be as much if he's going to have 30 to 40 yards receiving, which, again, I really think is going to happen. Because you got to find matchups against this team, this Eagles team. The Eagles do have some linebacker injuries, so there might be an opportunity for Ekeler to make big plays there. So I still like Ekeler higher than 46.5 rushing plus receiving yards as what the current number is. And then pairing that or 46.5, which it is right now, or 47.5, which you got yesterday. But you can still probably find this thing's going to move a couple yards here or there, back and forth over the next coming days. It's still early in the week. Paired that with Harrison Butker of the Chiefs higher than 1.5 field goals made. Playoffs in Arrowhead, field goal season. I think Harrison Butker been in this spot plenty of times, so higher than 1.5 field goals is good for me. That's a 3x multiplier. All right, new one that I'm adding here today. This number is just kind of insane to me for a playoff game, for an NFL game. It's hard to fade the guy. Saquon Barkley had 205 yards rushing against the Rams, but 125.5 is his number on 125.5 is his number on Underdog. He had 119 yards rushing against the Packers, 205 against the Rams. He had 167, 167 in week 18, 150 in week 17, 865 in week 16. So it's just, the number is too big. I mean, I think Saquon can definitely have 100 yards in this game. It's just, if they can limit the big play at all, they're not allowing, a 60-plus yarder. I don't think he's going to go 125.5. It's just way too high. I got to play that under. It's just kind of a number that is out of market with, or out of line with what we currently see. And by the way, it's 126.5, not even 125.5. It's just out of line with what the modern NFL is. Obviously, Saquon's had a crazy year where he's gotten this number plenty of times, but in a playoff situation, I'm going to play the lower there and kind of go contrarian. Pairing that with Isiah Pacheco of the Chiefs higher than 0.5 rushing plus receiving touchdowns. I think that in this defense for the Rams, or the Bills, not the Rams, can be had through the ground. I think that they're going to be a little bit conservative and around the goal line. I think that Pacheco, this is, he's been ramping up a little bit. I think that this is a good spot for him to score that TD. That with the Saquon Barkley under 126.5 rushing yards gives you a 4.1 or 4.05x multiplier. All right, let's move on to the National Basketball Association. Jalen Brunson, higher than 7.5 assists as the Knicks make the long trip across the bridge to Brooklyn. Brunson's assists, he hasn't been crushing this number as much as he was before, but now we're getting an increased multiplier. I think Brunson higher than 7.5 assists is very, very likely in this game. I don't think the D for the Nets is very good, and I think that you might say, oh, yeah, it just means he's going to have a good scoring game. But no, I think that in this game, this situation on a back-to-back, I think it means that he's going to be able to help his guys out a little bit more and get a couple more assists than he has over the last couple of games. So Jalen Brunson higher than 7.5 assists against the Nets. I don't think they're going to have trouble scoring. I think they're going to be able to knock out shots. So that's a good recipe for assists with Jalen Brunson. Pairing that with Paolo Banchero, higher than 24.5 points against the Raptors, a.k.a. the Craptors. Toronto Raptors are just not very good this year. They were like, a 10-win team so far. Paolo Banchero is having to carry the load for the Magic right now with Jalen Suggs hurt. I think that this is a good setup for him to have a dominant game. He's averaging 25.2 points per game on the season, and as we know, he's dealt with injuries. He's only, since returning from injury, by the way, he's only had higher than 24.5 points once. That was against the Bucks, but in his first game back. But again, coming off of a slow game versus Denver, I think it's a good chance for him to rebound and get into a high-scoring situation versus a team that doesn't have the best guys on the interior to stop a forward like Banchero. We're going to pair that one paired with Jalen Brunson is a 3.36x multiplier. All right, NBA number 2, we're going with Jimmy Butler, a.k.a. Jimmy Butler, a.k.a. Jimmy Buckets, higher than 15.5 points. Jimmy Butler, controversial year. He's not necessarily been killing it in both of his games back off of his suspension. Trailblazers in town. This is a spot for you to put up stats. If Jimmy Butler wants to get out of Miami, this is a game to send a message to other teams. Hey, I can still score. I can still do things on the court, even though he is into his 30s. I think a good spot for Jimmy Butler to get 16 or more points. It's just really a low number for a guy of his caliber versus such a bad opponent at home. So going to take advantage of that opportunity there. Pair that with Nikola Jokic, higher than 9.5 assists. Sixers in town. Jokic averaging 9.9 assists per game. Obviously he's had 10 assists in 3 consecutive games, and he's had 10 plus in 5 of his last 6 games, I believe it is. 5 of his last 6, and like 6 of his last 8. So it's just 7 of his last 10. I can keep on going. Nikola Jokic, this number's too low. I think that it's just the Sixers are not good defensively, which means that he's going to be able to help his guys out, and they're going to be able to knock down shots if they're not going to be facing a tough defense. So higher than 9.5 assists. I feel like we're getting a good fair price on Jokic there. That one paired with Jimmy Butler higher than 15.5 points is a 3x multiplier. NHL number 1, Matt Duchene, higher than 0.5 points. Stars are, Duchene has gotten a little bit back to his scoring or his point getting ways for this Dallas Stars team. They're hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes, definitely a different animal on the road as at home. So give me Duchene to score a point here. Pairing that one with Ryan Strome of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, higher than 0.5 assists as the Florida Panthers come to town. I think the Panthers are going to be in for a tougher game than they expect on the road down in Anaheim. 4.14x multiplier on that one. Next NHL entry, Alex Ovechkin, higher than half of a goal. They're going to Edmonton. Edmonton is a Jekyll and Hyde team when it comes defensively. I think Ovi is going to be able to send a message to the young studs on the other team, say, hey, I still got it, even though I got my old man beer belly here. And then Tim Stutzle, higher than 0.5 assists for the Senators as they travel to the Rangers. I think the Rangers are very overrated and not very good right now. I think Stutzle is going to be able to continue his points-getting ways. He's got 30 assists on the year. So give me Stutzle higher than 0.5 assists paired with Alex Ovechkin higher than 0.5 goals, 4.28x multiplier. All right, tennis entry. Jannick Sinner, lower than 0.5 sets loss against Alex de Minaur. de Minaur, good player, tough player, good return man, but his serve is going to be too weak for Sinner to not break. Sinner's going to be able to break this thing on demand. So give me Jannick Sinner lower than 0.5 sets lost. And then I'm giving me Iga Swiatek lower than 18.0 games played against Emma Navarro. Her return game is obviously great. Her serve is pretty good. And Emma Navarro is just winning track meets, winning battles of attrition. Swiatek is going to be on Navarro early in this match, and it's going to be not very pretty. That's a 3.39x multiplier. Tennis number 2, Madison Keys, higher than 22.0 games played against Alina Svitolina. I think Svitolina is going to be a tough out, so give me Svitolina and Keys to play higher than 22.0 games played. It's probably going to be 3 sets. And then give me Ben Shelton, higher than 42.0 games played against the man, the myth, legend, Lorenzo Sonego, who's been shutting down every hype train possible at this Australian Open. I think they're going 4 or 5 sets there, so higher than 42.0 games is going to be likely because there's going to be a lot of tie breaks in this match. That is a 3x multiplier. All right, rate, review, subscribe to the show if you have not done so yet. Follow me on social media. Check out my other podcast, Just Win Sports. You can find links to all that in my link tree in my Twitter profile at Britton Hess, BrittonHess. Thank you for listening or watching, and let's make some money.